This is Jordan Ramirez, and you are listening slash watching a brand new episode, excuse me, of Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez. And with me today is my special guest, YouTuber and actress Megan Claire Murphy. It's good to see you on the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. Now, the film that she has selected for today's episode is the 1988 fantasy film Willow, directed by Ron Howard, story by George Lucas, and you can see that from her shirt, starring Val Kilmer, Warwick Davis, Jean Marsh, and of course, Joanne Whalley. And another special guest, Billy Barty, in the film. So, why did you pick this film, and what was what was something that made you attached to this film?
Well, this film was like my favorite childhood movie. My mom used to put it in the VCR for us all the time. We watched it so many times, almost every day. And I'm talking about when I was like 3 years old, I watched
Hmm.
this movie. She
Yes.
let us watch it, me and my
Mm-hmm.
brother. My brother's 5 years younger than me, so I watched it from the time I was probably like 10 years old, like literally almost every day. My mom
Mm.
let us watch it. And so it's me and my brothers and my mom's favorite movie, maybe not of all time, but one
Mm.
of my favorite movies. So I picked it because you said you wanted a cult classic from the 80s,
Um, no,
right?
well, what I mentioned was it could be any movie. It could be a mainstream movie, a cult film.
Oh,
It could
well,
be a, yeah, it doesn't have to be like
I
a
just
huge,
picked that one because it's my favorite movie.
oh, that's good. So I've seen the movie yesterday, and it does feel like it is a George Lucas property. I know Lucas' name
It
is in
is.
it is Lucas's name is in the credits.
Yep.
He wrote the story, and Ron Howard, I imagined he was the director of the film, but
Yeah.
I think he was like the co-contributor. But Lucas, this was all his own.
Mhm.
And it feels very much. It's a I When I saw this film, it's basically a fantasy counterpart to Star Wars. It is very much in
Mhm.
that same mold. It has the same archetypes and the same George Lucas trademarks and motifs that have appeared in some of his other work. But yeah, this is a George Lucas property, and it is impressive that for this film, the one thing I think is pretty interesting about this film, even though uh, it may feel like it may be a ripoff of something like Lord of the Rings or maybe some
Mhm.
other fantasy film. Um, some fans would say or criticize that he may not try so hard with the names for certain creatures or races, but he was trying to do something that he would make that he wanted to make original on his own. Um,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely. But this is a particularly interesting film. So the one the one thing that I will note that maybe fans of this film may have already known or maybe have not known, there were a few characters that were actually based on real people that maybe fans were not knowingly aware of.
Yeah.
The villainess is General Kale. He was named after the New Yorker film columnist Pauline Kael,
Oh,
because
I didn't
Paul.
know that.
Oh yes,
Cool.
so Pauline Kael. I I read a film review of hers. So she wrote a negative review of this film, but when she saw the character of General Kale in this film, she called the character an homage à moi. Basically, she loved the character because it reminded her of what she did, because she was very harsh on his films and he always was very thin-skinned when it came to criticism. So I think that was something that he and Ron Howard thought in the process. And the two-headed dragon in
Mhm.
the later sequence in the film,
I used to be so scared of that part when I was a kid. I would like
yeah,
scream and run and hide behind the sofa when that part came on.
yes. So I looked it up, and it turns out the dragon in that the Lucas company, they dubbed it the Ebor Sisk, and it was literally named after Siskel and Ebert, the
And
two
Eve.
film critics. Yes. Uh he I don't know. For this film, I think Lucas had, I wouldn't say he was partially harsh to criticism, but I think it was just one of those things where he just had a sort of a scathing critique of something like that, I guess. But that's just one of the things I wanted to point out
Mhm.
for this film.
That's
And
funny.
it is. um, but you also mentioned that you have what I what I imagine is an array of Star Wars books in the background.
Well,
Uh,
just the one
oh, just the one.
right
Okay, okay.
there.
Oh, all right. So were there any favorite moments in this film that, well, like what was your favorite scene that you felt was like the moment that say that you would say it's so great, it's so good, it makes me feel like
Mhm.
this movie is something that I enjoy. What would you say is a favorite scene, or maybe two if you had to pick?
Okay, I have 2 scenes.
Okay.
My brother would be mad at me if I didn't do my Baz Morda and Finn Razel impression. It'll only take a minute. The one part where Baz Morda is turning all the soldiers into pigs,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "All of you, pigs!" Like that. Okay, I did it. And
Yes.
and then, there's another funny part that I always thought was we used to laugh so much at this part when we were kids, where, Finn Razel is fighting Bavmorda at the end,
Mm-hmm.
and she's like, "Lunano, eh, na, 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 na." You remember that part?
Yes, I do.
But and I really like the magic baby,
Oh, Elora.
Elora.
Yeah, Elora Donnan.
We always used to call her the magic baby when we were little. And
Yeah.
Mad Mardigan is a great character too.
Mm. So what so
But my
I
real
know
favorite scene is the part where they're up in the snowy mountains and they're rolling Mad Mardigan is rolling down the hill and he makes a big snowball as he rolls down and then he
yeah,
crashes
yeah. For that scene, I felt like it could have been directly lifted from any Warner Brothers cartoon or
from
a
Indiana Jones, maybe.
maybe
The big
the big
boulder
boulder.
that
Yeah.
in Indiana Jones.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
It felt like it could have been lifted from something like that. But again, it has that type of moment.
Mhm.
So I know I don't ask guests about this or anything like that. So what did you think of the creatures in the film, the brownies, the little miniature
Oh.
character?
Oh, I love the brownies.
Oh, okay.
They're so funny and
Mm,
they're a little, like, mischievous and sneaky and cheeky, and
mm.
I like the part when he falls into the bucket of beer
Oh,
at the
Rule.
tavern or whatever it is, and he's like, "Beer!"
Yeah. Yes.
They're so funny, and when he falls in love with the cat,
Mm-hmm.
you know that part?
Yes. Yeah, the character you mentioned, they go by the names of Frangine and Rule. And
Oh, yeah.
yeah, and for some reason, because they're depicted as almost mischievous imps or fairies, um, for
They're
some
like
reason,
fairies without wings, basically.
yes, yeah. For some reason, I almost thought that they sounded French because I thought they had
Mhm.
like French accents when I heard
Yeah.
them in this in the movie. But yeah, that I thought was pretty interesting.
Mhm.
So
And when they capture, Willow and
oh,
the
Migosh.
baby and bring them to the fairy queen.
Yes, the fairy
I forgot her
queen.
name.
Uh, I I think she
I don't
was
know.
yeah, I think she was referred to as the queen of the brownies.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. So I think one of my favorite I think some of my favorite moments have to be with Billy Barty, who plays the High Aldwin in the movie, like in the beginning
Oh,
of the film.
when he's like, "Which finger can control the world?" Is that the question that he asks?
Yeah, that sequence in the movie, and when they discover the Daikini child Alora Donnan, and
Oh,
he
yeah,
console
that's so cute.
yes, and he consults the bones. to see who
Mhm.
would bring the child back to a Dakini village to claim the baby.
And like
Which I
burgle cut.
yes. Mm, yeah.
Sorry, off track.
No, no, it's fine. Um, but yes. But yeah, it is a pretty interesting movie. I had heard of this film. This is my first that yesterday was my first time watching it.
Oh,
Um,
cool.
yes, it is. And for some reason, as I watched the film for the first time, the Queen Bev Morda character felt like a cousin to the Emperor Palpatine character from the Star
Yes,
Wars movies.
I can see that.
Yes, and the way she dresses reminds me of the Queen from Snow White.
Mhm.
The way that she is dressed and her crown, she almost reminds me of that character. Uh, which
Yeah.
which I thought in this film, it almost feels like both Lucas and Ron Howard, because he's the director of the film, and it was also co-produced by Ron Howard's company Imagine Entertainment. It felt like this film was almost a live action Disney film. It felt like
Mhm.
watching a Disney movie.
Well, it's literally it's part of Lucasfilms now,
Yeah,
which is literally owned by Disney now.
yeah, but at the time that this movie was made, it was sort of like it was trying to be in the spirit of Disney.
Yeah.
Before 20th Century Fox was bought by Disney, and now Disney had owned the rights to Lucasfilm and his properties, and now the Willow series is currently on Disney Plus, and it is also co-funded by Lucasfilm Limited, which now
Mhm.
is also owned by Disney. So I thought that was pretty interesting to point out. So,
I've only seen like one episode of the new Willow series on
mm,
Disney because I don't have Disney Plus.
mhm.
Just wanted to say that.
Oh yeah, no, no problem. I wasn't sure if you ever watched. I don't know if they ever release their original shows or movies to home video or anything like that.
I
No,
don't know.
I
I
don't
don't
think
think
so.
so. Now it's
No.
everything's digital now.
Yeah. So let us segue from the film to your character that you created for the YouTube channel, the Aunt Nae Nae. So,
Mhm.
what was the inspiration for this character, and what were some ideas that you put for this show?
Okay, so I have my own YouTube show called The Aunt Nae Nae Show.
Mm-hmm.
Oop, there it is.
Yes.
And I'm Aunt Nae Nae.
Mm-hmm.
It's because that's what my 7-year-old nephew calls me is Aunt Nae Nae because when he was a baby, I guess he couldn't say Megan.
Mm-hmm.
So he said somebody was like, "Who's that?" And he was like, "Aunt Nae Nae." And he's called me that ever since. He still calls me Aunt Nae Nae to this day, even though
Mm.
he's 7 years old now.
Oh.
Sometimes he says Megan, and it's a little disappointing, and I'm like, "Mm."
Mm.
Anyway, he was the main inspiration for the show.
Mm-hmm.
He lives in a different state, so we used to talk on FaceTime with each other a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I started playing this game one time. I was like, "It's the Aunt Nae Nae Show, hey!" And we just played the Aunt Nae Nae Show game on FaceTime, and I would like say silly things and sing songs and entertain him. And then the next time we talked, he was like, "Megan, do the Aunt Nae Nae Show again."
Mm-hmm.
And so a few weeks later, I just had the epiphany like, I could actually turn this into a real show. And I know all these silly songs that I learned at Girl Scout camp.
Mm-hmm.
I grew up going to Girl Scout camp.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just decided to sing one of my Girl Scout camp songs and put a video of it on YouTube and see what happens. And then I said, "Well, I guess I'll make another one. I guess I'll just keep doing it." And then one day, one of my videos got over 54,000 views
Mm.
suddenly. Don't know why. It just
Mm.
did. And
Yeah.
so,
No, no,
yeah,
go ahead.
that so then I decided to keep doing it, and I'm working with a producer now.
Mm.
So season 2 is gonna be even bigger and better
Mm.
than season 1, and I'm gonna keep doing it for the foreseeable future.
That's good. Um, all right. So how many minutes are your videos that you upload on YouTube last?
They're like really short, only 1 to 3 minute videos. The longest one is like 3.5 minutes, I think.
Hmm. All
But
right.
it's a short form show because, kids have short attention spans
Hmm.
most of the time.
All right. So you also I don't know if I brought this up. So you're also an actress. So
Mhm.
have you acted in other YouTube videos or any other projects that maybe my audience may want to see or be aware of?
Yeah, I've got some other videos on YouTube. There's one that's a short film that I made that's on there, and there's like 55 total videos on my channel,
Mm-hmm.
and 25 of those videos, there's a playlist called the Aunt Nae Nae Show,
Mm-hmm.
but all the rest of them are not the Aunt Nae Nae Show.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot of other videos on there, yes.
All right. Well, that's good to hear. And you've also acted on the stage as well.
Yeah, I've been doing this acting thing professionally for about 20 years now.
Mm,
I I majored in theater in college, got a bachelor's degree in acting.
mm,
And after that, I moved to New York City where I lived for about 6 years and I was doing off Broadway and I was a background actor in a lot of TV shows and movies that filmed in New York. And I became a member of both actors' unions, SAG-AFTRA and Actors Equity, which is the theater actors union.
mm-hmm.
And some of the most notable roles that I've done in my career are I played Maria in The Sound of Music,
Mm,
and I
awesome.
played Shelby in Steel Magnolias, the
Mm.
play,
Oh, awesome.
and I played Sister Amnesia in Nonsense,
Oh,
and I've also done a lot of children's theater.
mm,
I did a Cinderella children's play. What was the other one? The Wizard of Oz children's play,
mm-hmm.
and one at the Jewish Ensemble Theatre. I played the lead role. It was called I Was Just Kidding.
Mm,
It's educational for elementary age students. We used to tour around all the schools in the Detroit area,
mm,
and it teaches kids about bullying and stuff like that.
mm.
Bullying
Oh, that
and how
I
not to be a bully.
no,
They
no.
made that clear.
Yes. No, I mean, those are excellent roles that you have mentioned, and you also have theater credits as well. So,
Mm,
do you remember the shows in which you were cast in a background role or
yeah.
okay.
Um,
So like get like what are some examples of shows that you have been cast as the background actor?
I've worked on Law and Order SVU,
Okay.
Boardwalk Empire, The Good Wife, Blue
Mm,
Bloods. I worked on a show called Blind Spot. I
mm,
was a regular background actor on that one. I
mm.
played a FBI agent, but I was a FBI agent, like, I didn't go out in the field. I worked in the FBI office headquarters
Okay.
place. So basically, I wore a suit and I passed around folders and papers and worked on the computer and answered phones and stuff.
Oh wow.
I didn't get to, like,
No, no. I mean, it's amazing that
fight the bad guys out in the field.
yeah, that it's amazing that you have these amazing credits and I never got to interview an actor who got to work on these big projects, but to me it sounds like you did work on some big projects. So I
Yeah.
yeah,
I was, like, literally 2 feet away standing, like Mariska Hargitay from Law& and Order SVU was, like, right there next to me.
oh wow.
We're not allowed to speak to the main cast actors.
Mm-hmm.
The unwritten rule is don't speak to them unless they speak to you first. It's like royalty or something, I don't know.
Okay.
But so I didn't get she didn't speak to me, so I didn't actually get to say anything to her or shake her hand or anything, but she was, like, right there.
Mm. Well, at least you got to see her, but not like physically meet her in person. But
Yeah.
I mean, that's okay. But yeah, so Boardwalk Empire, Law and Order SVU, Blind Spot, The Good Wife, those shows
Blue
which
Bloods.
Blue Bloods, of course.
Mhm.
Um, on that show with Tom Selleck, but you didn't get to like meet him or anything.
No, but he was in the scene. I got to watch him perform. I was playing the scene was like a press conference and I was playing like a news reporter and
Hmm.
he was like standing at a podium giving a speech like it's a press conference. So I
Wow,
got to watch him act.
wow.
And
Um,
I had to remember to stay in character myself too, you know. But I got to watch him. It was
yeah,
pretty awesome.
yeah. I mean, Uh, I I never got a chance to meet somebody like who was famous up close. Okay, there was one time I did get
Mm.
to. I didn't like meet her in person, like talk to her physically, but I saw her surrounded by people. Rita Moreno, I saw her in
Oh.
I got to see her years ago in 2016, but she was surrounded by people and she was like around 4'5", 4'6". She's very short, but she was still so fun. But she looked like she was so energetic with these people around her. But she
Mm.
was there because she was about to receive a lifetime achievement award, and also
Oh,
because they were
cool.
playing, yeah, and also they were playing a movie that she starred in that was shot in the Tampa Bay area. Um, but yeah, that was the one time, and I think only time, I don't know, that I got close to someone like a celebrity to meet.
Oh,
Yes.
that just reminded me, one of my favorite celebrity encounters, I worked on a show called, there was a show a few years ago called Maestro with Bernadette Peters.
Oh, okay. And this was on the stage?
No, it was a TV show.
Okay.
You might
Maestro.
not have heard of it, but
Okay.
that's okay. Anyway, the day that I was working on it, I only worked on it one day, but that day they were having like a bunch of donors at a gala for the orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
That's the show's about a musical orchestra.
Mm-hmm.
And I got to shake Bernadette Peters' hand like several times in a row. And we were drinking fake champagne. We had like champagne glasses, which were really filled with ginger ale or
Okay.
something.
All right.
But I had a glass of champagne in my hand and I was supposed to shake her hand and I spilled it on her hands. And I was
Oh,
like, oh
wow.
my God, I'm so sorry. And she
Oh.
was like, it's okay. She was really nice and gracious about it. And she
Mm.
just went to her assistant or whatever and got a paper towel and wiped her hand. And I
uh,
felt so bad.
oh.
But that was one of my favorite moments because she's also a big Broadway actress, as you know,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yes.
so that was like meeting one of my heroes.
Oh.
Anyway,
Yeah,
that's my story.
no, no, it's fine. Uh, did you get in touch? Did you stay in touch with some of the actors, like Bernadette Peters, for example, or probably not? No. Okay.
No, they
Oh,
don't give out their contact info.
oh, oh. Well,
That's
I just thought I would ask. But yeah, it's great that you got to work on these shows and also on Broadway as well. So
no, I wasn't on Broadway, I was
oh,
off Broadway.
sorry, I meant off Broadway. That you were also that you were
I
on
don't wanna
off
claim
Broadway.
that I was on Broadway when I
No, no,
wasn't.
no, no. Uh, I know that happens when I miss. Anyway,
That's
so
alright.
yeah. So besides the Aunt Nae Nae show, and you have your own YouTube channel and your acting credits, you're also a fan of your. Are you also like a bibliophile, somebody who likes to read as much, or
Yeah, as you can see behind me.
okay? So this may be a little bit okay, this is still within the topic. So of all the books that you have on your shelf, which like series or like standalone books would you say were your favorites that you like to read uh when you're just having free time to yourself? Like
Um, my favorite book is
Lord of the Rings
The
right
Lord of
there. Yeah.
Rings. There you go.
Yes. Yeah. Uh,
I'm working on rereading it for the third time, I believe. I read it about every 10 years. The first time I read it, I was a sophomore in high school. It was in the 10th grade
mm-hmm.
when the first Fellowship of the Ring movie first came out in 2001.
Mm-hmm.
And then I saw the movie and I decided to get the books and read the books and I fell in love. And Tolkien is, in my opinion, the best author ever that
Mm.
I've read so far in my life
Okay.
and my favorite book.
Oh, awesome.
And I've got a whole shelf of Tolkien books right there.
All right. Uh, so, but so, when I know there are some fans like some who are fans of the books or the movies, depending on like the comparison between the two, like the movies and the books. Uh, I know I don't like to ask you this question because maybe you might have been asked this before, but
It's okay.
okay. When you watch the movies after you reread the books, do you notice like a what's the difference between the movie and the book, or do you just yeah, so like not a lot of examples, but just name like a few examples just to say like what is the difference between the movie version versus the book?
Well, in the movie, they left out the chapter in the book about Tom Bombadil.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the grievances that most fans of the books have.
Okay.
But I see the movies and the books as two separate works of art
Mm-hmm.
and two separate entities. Like Peter Jackson did a brilliant job with the first three Lord of the Rings movies,
Mm-hmm.
and the extended versions include a little more of what they left out that was in the book
Mm-hmm.
on the theatrical versions.
Yes.
But mainly the two main things that they left out was the chapter about Tom Bombadil,
Mm-hmm.
which is in the book,
Okay.
and there's a chapter in The Return of the King at the end of it called The Scouring of the Shire,
Mm-hmm.
when the orcs and the evil soldiers
Mm-hmm.
like go and scour the Shire where the hobbits live, and they have to like fight back, and there's like a battle where the hobbits have to fight the bad guys.
Hmm.
They left that completely out of the movie.
Oh, wow. Uh, did did you ever see the original Ralph Bakshi 78 cartoon version of the Lord of the Rings before?
A long time ago, yes, I've seen the
Mm-hmm.
the Hobbit cartoon movie from the same time period,
Mm-hmm.
but I haven't really watched the Lord of the Rings one
Oh,
ever yet.
okay. Well, the Lord of the Rings one, I saw an interview with director Ralph Bakshi. He stated that originally, when you're directing a fantasy film, that you had to visualize something that didn't exist because at that time, uh, I mean, he was working on a low budget, and the low budget meant that you couldn't film something that was big or extravagant. So he had to work with what he already had.
Mhm.
And just to wrap things up, because I'm almost out of time, so I'll just leave it at this. He originally wanted to film all three of the books into like two separate movies, but because the first film only covered the first two books, they didn't have the budget to do a sequel or an extended version of the story, so it just left it at
Mhm.
that. So that's pretty much what I said. And it was entirely rotoscoped, meaning that he had to film the live action footage first, and then they had to animate over it. So that's why it had sort of a
Oh.
3D effect.
Hmm.
Yeah. But it's an entirely original process since the early 1920s. The idea of filming a real actor and then just tracing over the actor to make it look animated. It's not something that's new. It's something that's been done before. But I just thought I would leave it at that.
Okay.
So yeah.
I
Uh,
just want to say real quick, the name of my YouTube channel is Megan Claire Murphy 2. The
okay.
number 2, that's make my name, Megan Claire Murphy 2.
Mm-hmm.
You can find the Aunt Nae Nae Show and all my other videos there on my YouTube channel.
Okay. So when do your videos drop on your channel?
I just dropped one today. There's a new Aunt Nae Nae Show video once a week on Saturdays.
Okay.
And I just dropped a new one today called Aunt Nae Nae Goes to the Beach Part 2.
Mm-hmm.
Last week is also on there. It's Aunt Nae Nae Goes to the Beach Part 1.
Mm-hmm.
Next week, I'll give you a sneak peek, is going to be the Do Re Mi song. You know,
Mm.
do, a deer, a
Yeah.
female deer.
Mm-hmm. Uh,
But the Aunt Nae Nae Show is a variety show for kids. We have songs, stories, jokes, educational content, and more.
okay. Um, we're I know I haven't asked you this question, but were you thinking of maybe expanding the show to include new characters, or right now you're just gonna stick to?
Yeah.
Oh, awesome.
Um, well, we've already got a couple of characters. There's my dad who plays Gramps.
All right.
He's on a couple of episodes.
All right, that's good. And you mentioned there's another
But I'm
character.
thinking of bringing on, I'm going to be working with a new producer starting next month.
Okay.
So we're going to bring on special guests, like other guests other than me
Mm.
sometimes,
Okay.
and have, I don't know what we're going to talk about, but we'll try to make it educational and fun, kind of like Mr. Rogers
Oh
used to
yeah.
have guests sometimes,
Mm. So are your
kind of
guests
like
gonna
that.
yeah, so are your guests gonna be like local actors, or are they gonna be like
Probably both
okay.
local, and we can do it over Zoom like we're doing this show right now,
Yeah.
long distance, you know?
Yes. Um some like I don't want to say like big A-list names because I
No,
no,
probably
no, no,
not.
no. Some like
Like my
less
friends who are actors, I might ask them, "Hey, you
yeah,
wanna
yeah.
be on my show?"
Yeah, I mean I try not to ask that question because I'm not at that level where I can meet like big
But no,
names.
I'm not
No.
that famous yet. I couldn't get big name stars if I tried right now.
No, no, no. I understand. I just stick with who is in the local area, local community, uh,
Yeah,
before
there's
I
lots
sit.
of my friends from community theater actors
Mm-hmm.
that live around here that I could ask a few of them maybe.
Oh yeah. That's great. Um, that's a great thing to say.
I live in
So,
Alabama. I don't know if I said that.
uh, okay. Well, do you want to go quickly with like you? Okay, so we'll go over this quickly. So you originally were living in New York, and now you live in Alabama.
Correct.
And did you originally grow up in Alabama before you lived in New York?
Yeah, I grew
Oh,
up in my small town in southeastern Alabama. I
okay.
don't wanna say the name of the town for safety reasons, but
Oh, okay.
yeah.
All right. All right. So, before we wrap up this show, do you have any other recommendations or other last statements that about this movie for those who have not seen it or who at first may be skeptical about seeing this movie, before we wrap things up?
Yeah, Willow is a great movie. It's fun for all ages. It's a great family movie to watch together with your kids,
Mm-hmm.
if you have kids. And it's got action, adventure, magic, fairies, dragons, all that good stuff. So it's a great movie and you should watch it. And
Mm-hmm.
you should also watch the Aunt Nae Nae Show on my YouTube channel, Megan Claire Murphy too.
Okay, thank you so much. And besides your YouTube channel, do you have other other social media handles
Yeah.
where my audience could find you?
I'm on Facebook under the name Megan Claire Murphy.
Okay.
I'm not on Instagram or Twitter. I haven't gotten those yet, but I plan to one day.
All right. Thank you so much. And maybe I could see you on Instagram too.
Maybe one day. I'm not there yet.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Let's just
I'm
hope
not
for
on
the
there yet.
no, no. But yeah, it was great to meet you, and I hope and I've loved some of your videos. They're very educational, and I did love your other video about you going to the theater and going to New York City.
Mhm.
I thought it looked really cool to see you
Thank
going.
you.
Yes. Yeah, so I hope maybe we can catch up and maybe we could talk some more again.
Yeah, well, I've got your email address, so I'll probably email you this afternoon.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'll catch your email later this afternoon.
All right.
All
Thanks for
right.
having me. It's been fun.
Thank you. So this has been Jordan Ramirez, and you have been watching slash listening a brand new episode of Film Talk with Jordan Ramirez with my special guest, Megan Claire Murphy, also known as Aunt Nae Nae. And it was great to have you on the show. Thank you so much. And as she said, you can see her videos. You can watch her latest video right now on her YouTube channel. And also you can catch her videos on every Saturday on YouTube. So
And I
again,
usually post them on Facebook as well.
all right. And also on Facebook as well. Okay, so we'll see each other again, Megan, and I hope to see you again.
Thank you.
All right.
I mean, you too, me too. I
Yes,
don't know
thank you
why
so much. All right. And this is Jordan Ramirez signing off, and I'll see you at the movies. And again, thanks and bye. Bye,
Bye.
Megan. Bye.
Have a great day. Bye.
Bye.